Welcome back to the We Are Why channel. I'm one half of the team, Jay Schumann. I got my partner Shaq here with me. And today we're going to discuss two systems in America would you change? We live in the land of, they say, the land of the free. But are we free? Are there systems that's hindering us from achieving greatness? So today we're going to discuss policy systems that should be implemented to be for the betterment of people. Before we get started and before I pass it off to Shaq, we're going to go with the word of the day, and it's correction, a change that reflect or error of inaccuracy. So Shaq, tell the audience two systems would you change in America to be for the betterment of people? Lord yours, my brother.
Wow. Okay. Well, good question. Um, Good word of the day. Correction. I think we all need correction in this trying, difficult time, dealing with this pandemic, dealing with some states opening back up, no masks, and some who are still following uh, COVID protocols and such and such. And I think when you consider in policies, in fact, you need correction, you need change. But unfortunately, a lot of things are not subject to change. Or a lot of businesses, a lot of policies, they're not bound to change. They want to stay the same. Why? Because they still want to see people struggle. But to answer your question, um, what two policies would I change in America? Let's see. It's a lot going on. I really want to change this first policy, but I know that this has been a policy that speculates every year. States and states talk about it. We know we living in a recession. We living in a recession because of what's going on. Um, we see gas prices going back and forth. We see foods going up. Everything is going up, not going down. So the first thing I would change, but I know it will be hard to change, uh, is the minimum wage law in states. Every state has their own different minimum wage, but the minimum wage, I know in Florida, they speculated to 2026 it's supposed to be at $15 an hour. I think in Florida right now, 820, 826, if I'm not mistaken, is the minimum wage in Florida. Georgia is still 725. But I would change it from being $15 an hour to at least 16.50. I think that's a reasonable amount for everybody to be on the same page. Now, I know that's impossible. I know a lot of people may not, a lot of government may not want that to happen because think about it. Uncle Sam gonna want some too if stuff goes up. Because you guys think about it. If minimum wage go up, inflation goes up. And we clearly see that now. The landlord, if you're renting out an apartment, he gonna want some. Uncle Sam gonna want some of your money. Any the more money you make, the more the governor gonna try to take. And I think that that's gonna be a hard issue to change. But that's one of the things. That's the first policy that I would try to change. But it's gonna take a lot. It's gonna take a lot of businesses to come together and get. They know that people can't make it what with no $15 an hour, and depending on how they're being taxed, if they're getting paid bi-weekly, they just getting it fast. But if they're getting paid every 2 weeks, they still send a paycheck, but it's hurting them when they get it. It's like they get it, then it go. You got some people work 3 jobs just to make ends meet when they own minimum wage, and I'm just tired of seeing that issue being. I think that issue need to be reforced, and it needs to be changed, and it needs to be advocated throughout this country. And I think that the government officials and these local and policies maker who make the decision for us each and every day, and the people in our local office need to get these changed. Um, that's that's how I see it. The other policy that I would change, that I know it could change if we have more and more people that can see it from this point of view. I would change the healthcare system. It is totally, totally ridiculous. I would build. I would particularly focus on the non-insurance, the people with no insurance. There's a lot of individuals in the United States right now that's working on jobs without insurance. There's a lot of people walking around without health insurance. So what I would do, I would build I would build three uh if there was the money available, right? Now this gonna cost money. I will build three non-insurance eligibility hospitals because we have a lot of people out here that does not know their genetics. They don't know they have diabetes. They have many illnesses such as diabetes, cardiac arrest, lung cancer, respiratory therapy, uh, breast cancer. They have so much illnesses out here, but it's not that many resources. It's almost like you got to put so much money in. And when you think about the Obamacare, I don't need that's a whole nother conversation. That hurted people even more because you got to put so much in just to keep the insurance. I know when I went to, when I lost my job, I lost my job when the pandemic came. I lost my job. I went up to uh and you lose all the benefits. So I went to the doctor and they said, Mr. Harvey, your copay is no longer this, it's gonna be this. And I said, wait a minute, I'm not gonna be paying this. They said, no, you're gonna be paying as a self-pay. Now, just to see the doctor, I had to walk in paying 150. The lady behind the desk told me that's just to be seen. That's not even including labs. That's not even including x-rays, drug screens, anything of that nature. If the doctor see fit, you have to pay for that separate, even medication. So I said to myself, wait a minute, I'm working, I'm doing all this. But again, I don't have any insurance. And then when you try to get insurance on your job, they're taking so much out to people trying to make ends meet. So they say, hey, I don't want the insurance because I want to just make as much money I can. I want to get paid for what I'm working. So I would build three. I would take, instead of this stimulus check that just got passed, okay, this $1.9 trillion that just got passed in there. A lot of people got the 1,400 stimulus check. I would take most of that money if it was available and build a hospital for people. Because $1,400 is only temporary. People gonna get that. They're gonna spend it on TVs and Walmarts. They're gonna spend it up. They don't know how to save. But I would take that money and get and put it to use because your health care is used. It's useful. It's valuable when you put it there. Now it has to be broken down in criteria, and I want to break this down in context. So it will be breaking up in tier one, tier two, and tier three, and it will states the eligibility. If you make a certain amount in tier one and you reach a sliding scale of no more than uh let's say $35,000 a year, and you don't have insurance, you can go to this hospital and you don't have to pay no copay. You can be seen, you can get services, free service. That will help people. I'm talking about services for far as OBGYN, optometry, cardiology, um, um, primary care, pediatric, all types of services will be included in this hospital if you fall on the tier one line. Tier two will pay a supplement, you will pay a deductible, but you still will receive all services, but you will just have a deductible. And then tier three, you'll pay, depending on your amount, you will pay the most, but you still will have access to all the services. So meaning you may pay $150. You may pay $75 depending on your proof of income or how much money you making, or depending on your state. You may pay $75 to $100, but you think about it, you're getting your medication for free. You're seeing a heart doctor, you're seeing a OBGYN, you're seeing pediatric if you have children. You're getting all type of services. I can't I can't even go to my pediatric, and you're getting up out of there at a reasonable time. So and that money is gonna pay for doctor salaries off, so that we can have doctors to work. We're gonna pay for hospital beds so that people can, if they get sick, let's make this an outpatient, right? So that they can come and go because they do have jobs that they have to get back to. That's what I would do if I had two policies. There are many others that I have, But I think particularly I will focus on minimum wage and I will focus on the healthcare system because people dying, especially with this whole COVID out now. And people don't know their genetics and they don't know where they come from. And I think that health, if we self health educate ourselves, I'm gonna repeat that again. Self health educate ourselves. That doesn't mean just because I believe in a doctor, just because they wear a white coat, I trust what they say because they only go based off experiments and statistics, right? I'm going to do my own research and I'm going to do my own self evaluation on my health. I'm going to eat right. But that go back to minimum wage again because think about it. All the foods in the store, all the junk food is cheap. But all the healthy and the vegetables and the fruits is expensive. So they want you to be obesity. They want you to be diabetes. They want you to have this stuff, but they won't build a hospital for non-eligible insurance. Only for non-eligible. If you have insurance, you do not qualify. These are particularly for the Americans out here that does not have insurance, that's going to hospitals. And we all know hospitals are used for is not used for primary care. That's why when you go to a hospital, they tell you to follow up with your primary care doctor. Now, if you with the VA and you get TRICARE and stuff like that, this does not concern to you. We're talking about you, everybody in their family have relatives that does not have some type of insurance. We talking about from 18 years old all the way until 75. No, I ain't even gonna say 75. I'm gonna say 50, 58. Because when you're 62, I think you still can get partial of the benefits. You might can't get the full thing, but you can get Medicare Part A and B, which actually pays for hospital visits and doctor visits. Medicare Part D pays for prescription drug coverage. But that's the two policies that I would change if I had the opportunity.
Okay, I see you very passionate about it, man. We're gonna get back to a couple of things that you said, but I feel like the bottom line is change. So my perspective, two systems that I would change is equality and student loan debt. Because I feel like those two are the major policies or systems that's hindering people for achieving greatness. Let's look at equality. That's what America is based on, right? But everyone doesn't get equality. You have seen certain people that they might be equality, it might affect them criminally wise, might affect them far as going to get a business loan, going to get anything attainable to help them in their family, but they won't be able to get those things because of equality, right? So I feel that those things hinder us. As I have seen in my own neighborhood, athletes, musicians, business owners, financial literacy people, they are very unique, but at the same time, they don't get those benefits because of the color of their skin or their gender or as far as their sexuality or things of that nature. All of those things can affect you, right? Then we could go to student loan debt. I believe, according to Forbes, in 2020, student loan debt was $1.56 trillion. $1.56 trillion, right? So imagine this, a child, or I ain't gonna say a child, adult, get out of school at 22 years old. You in 60, $70,000 worth of student loan debt. How can you achieve greatness if you're already behind? So let's factor in people might have a couple of kids or one child. And to get out of college, 6 months after you graduate, you got to pay the student loans back. You got to take care of your kid. You have to find a job. Mainly, you won't find one in your field because, oh, you're not experienced or you might don't have the qualifications to enter the job. Now you working low income jobs just to make ends meet. But then student loans still knocking on your door. They need your money. So That all factor in, and it doesn't just affect you, affect your child. Then it goes into generational debt. So no one can achieve greatness if they already behind. So equality and student loan debt, if we attack that and get rid of student loan debt, because even if it doesn't directly affect you, it affect individuals in your family. So we have to get rid of the selfish aspect. And even though it won't benefit me, it benefit the person that I love. So it sets them up for a betterment in their life. They can be able to get housing loans, be able to get business loans. They could be able to get auto loans. All of those things come in a key factor into student loan debt. You can't get it because of the debt that you already in. So that's just my perspective on it.
And you know what? I actually agree with you on that because you know it's not about your color, skin color. It's not, and that's the point about equality. We don't care if you black, blue, green, orange, brown. You know, everybody deserves some type of equality. I agree with you, and but it's something you said. In fact, you said just a few minutes ago. You talked about the last thing that you just mentioned, which was what?
Okay, we was talking about student loan debt.
Oh yeah. You talked about student loan debt, and you talked about uh, you know, you would get them a house loan, you would get them a business loan, or something like that. But hold up, you basically putting them back in debt. Let's just get rid of the word loan and just use this as house grant, business grant, because they already they whole lives, right? They whole lives, including myself, we already been told no. We already been told the words, "Oh, sorry, we can't help you," or "You're not gonna make it," or "You only have limitations." And you talked about it when you opened up in the introduction. You said something about freedom, right? We're not free. We're not free. We are free. We're not free. We are liberty, which means we have limitations. We have certain limitations that we can do. But I agree with you. It doesn't matter the skin or your color. It doesn't matter where you come from. It doesn't matter your diversity or your genre or your background. It all depends on equality. And equality represents equal. And that's what I think when talked about that. But yeah, just like you said, man, I just really wish that we can have great support when it comes down to these things because these are actually good things that we can change, you know?
Exactly. But I want to bring out the aspect. Equality. Equality in the healthcare. So I see how you set up and you said far as this tier and this tier. Why can't everyone be on the same base of equality to have the same wavelength of healthcare?
It can't happen like that because number one, everybody money is different. Because again, key word as did states, I said, you know, minimum wage will play a definitely big factor in the healthcare system because keep in mind this goes for only. And I know we talking about equality and that does represent, but we are only talking about non-insurance, non-insurance patients. So that means if you have insurance, that means be grateful if you're working for a company that actually has a third party like Blue Cross Blue Shield or Humana or Aetna or what is it? HMOs or WellCare, right? Who actually taking out and better, who's actually taking out time to give you some type of private insurance. It may not get you as much as these individuals gonna get, and then we see this and we take an experiment out on this, right? Because we got the control group and we got the experiment group. And I think that the people that does not have insurance are the experienced, right? That means they are being tested, right? That means they are being tested with stuff. But the people that have insurance, right, they are being controlled, right? They are controlled. They belong to the government. So that means they already dictate the amount that's going to come out of their paycheck that goes toward their insurance. So you have your control group and your experiment group. What I'm talking about, along with your inequality, relates to the non insurance eligibility patients. That's what this hospital will be built for. And we providing all type of services on all type of levels.
Let me ask you this question. So we go take, for example, myself and you. Your premium might be, well, your copay might be $75. Mine might be 200, right?
Now, with is this with insurance or
No,
without?
no, 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 no. This with insurance because I want to
Okay.
get in the factor of with insurance. So your copay might be $75. Mine might be 200. Why in America? Because we in the land of the free. Equality is the key. Why can't everyone be on the same structure, right? No, no, no. Why can't we be on the same structure? Because I feel like me, it's personally unfair for a person to pay 200 and then I'm paying $400 for a deductible. I really don't understand that.
Like life ain't fair. And the reason why it's like that is because think about it. Doctors have to get paid. So you know what I'm saying? Healthcare costs. Do you know how much a X-ray equipment costs? Do you know how much heart surgery costs? So that's where the money is going. People have to get paid, and it's not no. These doctors have to get paid because they are putting their lives on the line as first responders to help save lives. So when you make a comparison and you talk about you don't understand why this person has to pay this copay, this person because everybody's situation is different. This person that we probably don't know, right? They might be living in the house with five other people and they might be splitting the rent. They can save some money. But you might got somebody out there who don't live in the house with nobody that actually paying all their bills that don't got insurance, and that's why we build this hospital, like I keep saying, and like I keep forcing, and I'm not gonna stop until we find some type of solution to this because we already identified the problem. The problem is people are suffering, people are dying, people are not knowing their genetics, people don't have enough insulin, people don't have enough medication, people don't have enough diabetes shoes. They don't have enough test strips. They don't have all this stuff. And then when you get to talking to these individuals, you say, "Hey, what are you eating?" I'm not eating nothing. Diabetes plays a large portion in my family. Well, hold up. Last time I checked, diabetes plays a long portions of your organs. So if you're not eating right, or you're not, sometimes they can be eating right. They just body is just not producing enough insulin, which cause them to be in the hospital, which cause more illnesses, and sometimes they wind up dying or going in a diabetic coma. And who knows? That coma can be weeks, days, months, years. We don't know. All our job is to do is to get the message out there to the people, along with myself, along with yourself, to let them know, building hospitals, build clinics, build urgent cares up. Because these they are ripoffs. All they are doing is taking these individual money, and is these individuals really getting the equal amount of care? Now, keep that in mind. There's nothing wrong with healthcare services, but I believe, and along with you equality, that it should be equal amount of healthcare. Equal amount, meaning I don't care if you blue, black, green, or brown. Everybody deserves the equal amount of quality of healthcare. Everybody.
I, I agree with you.
But it has to be broken down in context if you're making a certain amount. Because again, when it comes down to the healthcare field, on like all other scales of fields, healthcare costs, and that costs the most out of everything. Now I can see if you're talking about going up and why I gotta pay if I'm applying for an engineer job and this person gotta pay for an engineer job, then you can take that up with the business owner. But when it comes down to healthcare, you can't take it up with nobody because guess what? Healthcare is its own rules.
Doesn't That's supposed to the underline what I'm trying to get across is the betterment of people. You was coming from the aspect of doctors have to get paid, right? But the betterment of people. So if this person need high blood pressure medication and the copay might be $200, and then this other person that needs the blood pressure medicine is not paying nothing, I just feel that that's unfair, right?
It'll always be like that, but what are we gonna do about it? That
The
so
changing of
let's
the
talk about that.
narrative.
True. Let's talk about
Okay.
that. Let's talk about that. So what can we do to change these situations? What can we do? What is one thing that we can do right now Right now, you and I, what can we do to change our community? Because you said it's a betterment for people. So how can we be for the people?
First thing is educate. Gotta educate them on policies that they're not unaware of. They're
Okay, so
unaware
we
of.
can start with education. That means we can start a. And I agree with you. We can start a self health education class where we can go out and talk to the public, talk to the community about what they eat, uh, how to eat properly, letting them know that food is medicine, to identify their genetics, to understand the importance of having health insurance. If it's not Medicaid, at least get something. Get something, get some type of private insurance because you can be on the job one day and you can just pass out and you not know. And I read something the other day. It talked about a young man who had a history. He never had a history of anything that had something to do with seizures, right? He ate Chinese food one day, right? And he collapsed in the middle of the street. When he woke up, when he woke up in the hospital, he actually woke up to doctors and he asked the doctors what had happened to him. And they said that you passed out. We still trying to find out what happened to you. So eventually they gave him some medication. And the medication was seizure medication, right? He didn't have his first seizure until he took the medication. So that's what I'm saying. We have to self-educate ourselves. My family, with my genetics, big on heart. So I try to eat right and try to be stress free and live stress free so I won't have to put so much on my mother had a heart problem. My grandmama had a heart problem. Uh, my uncle had a heart problem. And my mama had 8 boys, no sisters. I don't have no sisters. She had all boys, right? And guess who had the heart problem out of all my mama's boys? I did. So I take healthcare very, very serious. I take it very, very serious. So, like you said, we can start with educating, we can start with advocating. And what is another one?
Well, let's go back to what you said as far as your mindset, changing your lifestyle, right? Changing the way you eat, increasing your physical activity, and each one teach one. So if you see your aunt or your cousin and they have high blood pressure or they might have diabetes and they change their lifestyle, how they eat, they take accountability of their actions and they change it. And I feel that each one, then you teach them. And I see his because people don't really change the way they supposed to change until they actually see a physical feature change, right? So if a person sees a person lose 20 pounds, oh wow, maybe I need to follow that guideline. And then it's like a trickle effect. So just the mindset is really the biggest thing. We change the mindset, you can do anything in this world, you can accomplish anything in this world. And that goes back to equality. We must change the mindset because we all should be free. We should all be able to attain anything in America, anything in life. So
You definitely right on that, man. Thank you for helping me to see the importance of equality. And I just wanted to add, if you watching out there, this is a very serious topic. We talk about healthcare. When we're talking about, understanding your genetics and understanding your background and understanding where you came from and self health educating yourself. Back you mentioned, eating right and stuff like that. And I'm also add to what my brother said. Even if you can't even do that, you're big on funds, you're trying to save it, you only can eat what you can afford. Just try to at least walk 30 minutes a day. Do something. Get the blood flowing in your body. Walk 30 minutes a day. Do what you can do. And if you do that, stuff like that, I think that will help us come together as a whole to realize that we can get this hospital built.
also, this as well, individuals have to learn. We can't go off of commercial bait. You see commercials. Commercials is not going to educate you. It's going to publicize the things that you shouldn't have, such as You look at snack, food snacks. That probably got 30 grams of carbs in one cookie. We have to not rely on commercial wise, but focus on and actually, like you say, do your research to find out what caters to you. Student loan debt. That's not focused on the government. Oh, the government one day might wipe away student loan debt. No, educate yourself. Find out different policies, different educational places that can help you remove the student loan debt. Resources. Thank you. Resources. Because again, according to Forbes, I believe what according 99% of individuals apply for a student loan forgiveness program. Only 1% was able to benefit from that blessing. So we must do our research. We must educate. Each one teach one. If we do that, hey, we'll be the place we need to be.
He said it. I said it. You guys heard from us. Now we challenge you. We challenge you. If you watching out there, we challenge you. Please write down in the comments below two 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 policies you would change. You heard my two policies. You heard his two policies. But we only two people. We need your help. So if you can think of something, let's stick together. Let's come together. We know it's problems out here. We know it's a lot going on, but we know that when we use our voice and we communicate, we can advocate and we can generate the importance of getting it done. And that's all we ask. And if we stick together, when it's all said and done, we will win. So write down below if you want to, you can. Two policies that you would change in America and why. And we'll address this. We'll even go far and beyond and talk about it on the show if we have to. But let's try to do our best in doing that because the problems are here. We just got to come up with the solutions. So I challenge each and every last one of you to come up with policies, understand the importance of the policies, research the policies, and come up with policies that will change not only myself, not only my brother, not only you, but generations.
And it goes back, closing remark, correction. Correct what needs to be corrected. Correct what we want and we envision our life. Correct the 1 percentile reaping the blessing of student loan debt. Correct equality so everyone can be correct healthcare system so everyone can benefit from quality healthcare and correct ourselves. Because we got to start with us first. But that's we are why. We'll check y'all out next episode. Until then, y'all